Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms. We will see how this April solar eclipse is going to impact your zodiac. So this one's taking place on the 20th of April and it's taking place in Aries, 29 degrees, which is at the very end of a zodiac, and it kind of brings in a sense of urgency to complete a certain cycle and move on to the next chapter of things. Okay, so this here is kind of closing out the previous cycle of eclipses where the north and the south nodes were in Taurus, Scorpio, and we're kind of transitioning into the lessons of Aries and Libra axis that will come about in a couple of months. I don't quite remember the date, but regardless, this degree itself, and combine that with the effects of an eclipse, which are usually quite spontaneous or very fateful in nature and bring about very important changes in our lives or pivot points as well, that is coming through here really strong. Also, the sun is going to be squaring with Pluto, which is at 0 degree of Aquarius. Okay, so 0 is as well a brand new space, which is absolutely full of potential, so it can be that anything can happen type of vibe. So Pluto will bring about a huge change in the area of your life that Aquarius is in, and yeah, there can be a change in attitude just in the collective itself, and this square can be kind of everybody actually getting used to the changes or introducing new changes into their lives and so on. Okay, so we'll see this as a collective theme. Okay, now the ruler of Aries, Mars, is going to be in Cancer at this time. So it's not really its most favorite placement, but actually, let me take the other deck. Yes. But it kind of brings to the surface the emotion, the subconscious, and what we truly want and desire. So there can be like an increase in, the people that you connect with, or you might crave connecting with people a little bit more, seeking kind of a heart fulfillment, so to say. And in that process, there can be some drastic changes or promises that you make to yourself around this time. But yes, usually eclipses take about 3 to 4 months to really show their entire effects, and sometimes it can even go to 6 months, depending on how big the particular shift is. So yes, it doesn't necessarily have to be that something radical happens on the exact date of the eclipse. Sometimes it happens that that particular day something else was going on in the background which you were not really conscious of. For example, if you made an application for something, then they might have had a conversation about your application on that day, but of course they're not going to tell you about every conversation they have with anybody, so you don't find out about it, and you might hear back like a month later, which is like very far off from the eclipse, but it was initiated around that time. So yes, strange things can happen. You're very fateful with eclipses in general, and given the very important critical degrees that are involved in this particular one, it's just I'm really excited to see what exactly happens, because everyone's circumstance is going to be different. Okay, so we have Krishna coming up first, and we have what? Okay, so these two are soulmates. Okay, they're soulmates, companions. It's kind of the Lover's card really altogether. This can be indicating that you find your own soulmate if that's something you're looking for, or you create a union of sorts with someone. There is a partnership as well. I can't believe it. I can't believe. Oh, wow, this has not happened before. So definitely there is some soulmate vibes going on. Someone new could come into your life. So someone new could come into your life, or a new opportunity can come in, which is like very exciting. You might be very passionate about this. You're very excited to see where it goes and things like that. There can be a lot of dynamism, beauty, harmony, peace, these types of things that both of these guys symbolize. They kind of bring in an increase in prosperity and just your feeling of well-being, basically. So no matter what exactly the situation would be, it looks like there's a lot of harmony and alignment that is coming through for you. Okay, then we have the 6th house. This is actually where your Aquarius is, right? Yes, This is where your Aquarius is, so there can be a new occupation, new job, a new client you might get, or a new coworker, perhaps with whom you can partner up with, or you might be working together. This is about that work ethic specifically. That is very exciting for you. Apart from that, I can say that there is harmony in your lifestyle. Perhaps you figure out the exact routine that you would want to feel energized and happy, productive, and so on all day. And also, perhaps you are taking on some new health regimen as well, maintaining your diet. If there were some health conditions that were lingering, this would be the clearing out of that. You're figuring out your most preferred exercise routines as well. And Virgo, this is where you sit. So it really is talking about you being in your element, kind of. Wow, okay, so good. All right, then we have the third house. Yes, this can be the colleague, co-worker type of interpretation that I was giving, but it can also be that you're paying attention to your thought process, perhaps your mental health you're taking care of, you're ensuring that you're feeling rested and fulfilled in life, and kind of taking steps to ensure that you stay in a happy mindset as well. Third house is also about communication. So yes, there can be some new people that you're coming into contact with, most likely in the workplace, but yeah, it's just quite fun connecting and communicating, kind of. What else? There can be some contracts as well that can come in here if that's something you're interested in. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we have. We have Chiron, deep insecurity, spiritual strength, and rebirth cycles. Okay, so Chiron is about, it's basically the wounded healer, could not heal himself, but then he tried so many different things that one of those solutions was actually helpful to other people, so he kind of became a guide as well. So this seems as though something you were afraid about is going through a bit of a rebirth. There is a regeneration because you have a lot more wisdom or more experience from dealing with certain issues. It can be internal or external, but that is kind of balancing out or leveling out. There's a healing that is coming through when Chiron is involved here. There is a management of certain insecurities. You're not dictated by your fears and problems and things like that. So you're really becoming a lot more confident over here through this. If there are certain things that have not been addressed but need to be addressed before the beginning of a new chapter, that is going to come up first. So, you know, the fears that you didn't even know you had, or you had but you were like, it was not triggered in the recent past, something like that can also come to the surface, where you're kind of forced to observe and think about it and kind of search for answers, so you don't keep repeating the same things, because there's something really wonderful that is wanting to come in here, but before it can, the blocks and the kinks need to be worked out. And we have Aquarius coming through. So yeah, Pluto in Aquarius seems to be a very major deal for you, because yeah, I guess so. I mean, if you're looking for your rising sign, then Aquarius would be in your 6th house. It's your house, so you're kind of directly impacted by whatever happens there. So there can be some transformations here. Also, you could come to a service of humanity. Perhaps you have some alternative healing business or thoughts or ideas. Maybe you could be interested in that, but you're putting that into practice now. And again, if you have certain like chronic issues, this can be that you're figuring out a certain solutions, or again, alternative methods that could work, and you're giving it a try. Something with communication, technology, higher education. Okay, I didn't mean to say that, but I did, so let's go with it. And also your large-scale network. So perhaps you're coming into contact with different types of people, but you figure that even if you come from different backgrounds, you still have so much in common. Your ideas match, your mindset is similar, so you happen to vibe with the people that you're connecting with. Okay. All right, and you might have an initial fear that perhaps you would be a misfit, or that, maybe you're not as smart, or you won't fit in really well. Perhaps your work style is different, things like that. I'm giving the work example because the 6th house is here, okay? It does not have to be about work. But it's something you kind of expect, and you're kind of afraid because of those expectations. It turns out to be not that true. But since the fears pop up, you might be forced to think about them and then deal with them. Okay, but in reality, it looks to be working out nicely. Okay, then we have Libra. Very nice. We have Libra marked by justice in this deck, and it indicates balance and healing, right? Finding the right balance. Also, it is about partnerships. So yes, contracts, likely, partnerships in a romantic sense, also likely, one-on-one connections, close friendships could be forming here. Perhaps you're communicating with someone who you feel a sense of kinship with. This is also indicating karmic rewards. So your thoughts kind of make your words and then your actions, and therefore cultivate a sense of reality as well. So if something is absolutely a misfit in your life to the best version of you that you can be, that can come to the light, or again, you're voluntarily doing that to bring that into equilibrium. With Chiron here, he wants to heal himself. It's not always that avoidant type, because the pain is there and it needs to be managed. It's kind of that. So Chiron always figures out a way to bring itself into focus and kind of make itself fix it, right? So it can also be that you're voluntarily thinking about it, perhaps about your relationship focus or style, or what type of mate are you actually looking for, things like that. There can be some changes in that regard. Then we have Knight of Wands, which is very exciting. That's spontaneous, creative, very dynamic. It looks like you're taking fast action towards something here. Things are moving very, very rapidly. And you're also excited by the possibilities. Of course, there's like some legal work or some paperwork, something serious to promise and establish to yourself or with someone else. But beyond that point, it's like really exciting to actually do the thing, right? So it might be that, again, taking the work example, you might feel as though you would be a misfit with other people, but you actually enjoy the work quite a lot. So it's kind of that vibe. You might not enjoy the in-between, but when you strike that balance, and it comes about very quickly as well, you're going to enjoy it quite a lot. All right, then we have the Knight of Swords, another knight. Okay, very action-oriented, quite dynamic this would be, this eclipse. So Knight of Swords can indicate communication and message kind of coming through, and you're responding to those things, so there is like further action that happens as a result of that. Okay, there is like, all right, now that I have confirmation, let's go on to it. We have to buy certain things, we have to pack certain things, or like we have to figure out certain documents, the final signatures and papers. So like, are we done with it yet? Are we there yet? There's a sort of, impatience and like, okay, let's just go. Okay, yes, got it. I got my passport. Yes, I got it. I'm just gonna go. It's that kind of energy that's coming through. You're just really excited by it. Yeah. Of course, then when you're in that state, it might not be the most fun to deal with tedious work, right? But so make sure to kind of not rush through those things if they are like a very important in-between step, right? But either way, there is like a lot of forward movement. Knight of Swords also indicates that you're very courageous, you're ready to take action and initiative towards your dreams, and you have a plan, you have a strategy. It's not just about shooting in the dark in any way. You can actually see from up above here, right? You're kind of flying above the ground, you're in the air, so you have good awareness at this time. Yes, as I said that, we have Nine of Swords, Mars and Gemini. Yes, this can be that you're overwhelmed with like a lot of communication or a lot of documentation perhaps. There are way too many things to sign and whatnot, or too many things to think about before you actually go for your dream here, or go for your desired outcome basically. So you might be a little bit paranoid about how each step might work out. Nine of Swords is that paranoia or anxiety or like taking on a lot more than the situation needs. It's the classic overthinker. Okay, so if you are being forced to pause, and by the way, there might be some of that breaking action when there is a square. Okay, so it might be a lot of both things, a lot of change and a lot of things to deal with, and that can feel like a lot basically, right? But we need to kind of list them down and deal with it one by one. Do it the Virgo way, it seems like, because, yeah, Mars in Gemini can have that scattered thought. It might be hard to keep things in focus because at the time of the eclipse, Mars is in Cancer. So it already is not really in optimum performance. It's getting a little bit emotional, it gets a little bit tired, and it can get a little bit moody as well sometimes if we are unhappy. So in times of like quick action and take initiative right now, right here, urgent, everything like that, it might feel a little bit overwhelming in the process. But again, go at it one by one. There is no point in spreading yourself too thin. All right, then we have the Hierophant, which corresponds with Taurus. Finally, we have some grounding element. Amazing. This really can talk about some commitment. Libra and Taurus, really some commitment here, some blessings. You're very happy about it. It's a lucky union. Something traditional, it could be. So yeah, in a kind of, not going to say marriage, but it can be a marriage actually. There might be some documents you need to take care of and procedures that you're kind of taking care of, that you're not able to be as excited about the wedding as you would like to be, something of that sort, right? Yeah, it can be a marriage contract, doing the changing names and all of that. If that's what you're doing, it's possible too. Or it could be that you're making a promise to a person for engagement, for example, or it can be that you are making a promise to yourself about again, your lifestyle, and perhaps where do you want to spend your finances and what is of value to you, things like that. You're making some very quick action, but you're very clear about where you're coming from. Perhaps in the implementation is when you're kind of feeling a little bit rushed, or you're a little bit paranoid that, like, I've made a promise, I have to keep it up, so I better do it really, really good. Okay, it's kind of that. It feels like self-pressure to me instead of externally induced. All right, let's see. What else do we get for Virgos for this eclipse? First house, Capricorn and Mercury. Yeah, you're definitely thinking about your big goals and ambitions. There is something that you are serious enough about to make a promise. Okay, Mercury is your ruler in a fellow earth sign. In Capricorn, it is beneficial for you regardless of how happy or unhappy Mercury feels. Actually, it is still beneficial. It's connected by a trine, so there can be a form of achievement that you feel, or by making that promise or committing to that long goal that is kind of inspiring and sets your mind into motion, and you start thinking of different plans and strategies that you could implement a certain behavior, environment, person, whatever. Okay, also you're coming across very sincere, so the things that you promise, you seem to be coming from a place of experience and wisdom to other people. Okay, and you feel like you know what you're saying because you have gone through certain things, because you have made mistakes. You might really be realizing that you've learned so much from your mistakes and that you don't have to be ashamed of those things. Perhaps that is one of your fears or insecurities, that, you know, I have to be right, or I have to do things the right way, or yeah, something along those lines basically. But at this time you will see that those actually made up your strengths. So, and because of that, there's kind of a healing and a rebirth. You balance out, and you don't feel so upset about the same things that you once used to. Yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. One more, please. Jupiter, Scorpio, and the 9th house. All right, Jupiter in the 9th house talks about immigrations or travel abroad, higher education. I did mention that earlier. That was by accident, but this one's on purpose. Also, it can be connecting with people from abroad or different diversities, different backgrounds. Also can talk about raising an awareness and your wisdom, because with Scorpio there, it can be just this deep enlightenment coming outside. You kind of being showcased and expressed through you, because there's so much of this dynamic movement. It might feel like this is the first time you can see your thoughts come alive in a way. Like it feels as though if you were manifesting something, it's so here. You know, it's here, and it's right about to get established here, and you kind of are going to take a leap. There is a huge opening that happens beyond this point, and that step itself could be a little bit daunting because you've wanted something for so long. Yeah, these two cards over here also talk about that sense of longing that is there, the desire to kind of coalesce, combine with the dream, with what you have been seeking, basically, kind of the partnership thing where you have a invisible thread, basically. There was something else I was getting. You know what? Let me go one more, in case I remember. Leo, Pluto in the second house. Okay. Yeah, there can be some changes in your income. The type of job you might be doing could be different. There is also a change in how you feel about yourself, self-worth and esteem and so on. The things that you value as well, what you consider beautiful or attractive to you, that could be undergoing a certain transformation. Fears you might have around money and self-worth, that is also dissipating. The darkness coming to the light and is being healed and kind of rejuvenated. Feels like a very immediate, toxicity, healing, that it's like a very quick cycle, it feels like. So anything that comes up here is not going to linger for very long. If you feel paranoid at some point, it's not going to stay for very long. Okay, so I'm not worried about this. It's just something to know, I guess. So yes, that's what I have for you, Virgos. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts, and if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box in the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.